The following Cogeco Cable Sports Exclusive is brought to you in part by Hershey Canada, the makers of O. Henry, and by Lowe at 50 Wilson Street West in Perth.
Okay. Farm is the home team. Heflin's hitting first. There's no sun too, it's beautiful. You gonna start with a shot on us, Ronnie? Okay. Let's play ball, guys. And welcome to the 9th annual Perth Fast Pitch Shootout. Terry Shea along with Ray Madden. The final, Ray, the two best teams here this weekend, the Ballston Lake Heflin Builders and the Farm Tavern from Madison, Wisconsin. Farm Tavern is undefeated, and they've got to be rated as the favorite here.
This will be a battle between defense and offense here. The Farm Tavern has probably the best hitting team that anybody wants to see, and Heflin has a strong defense, so it should be quite a battle.
Well, the pitching matchup, Kevin Brown will throw for the Heflin Builders. Paul Algar, the Kiwi, on the mound for the Farm Tavern, and here we go. First pitch from Algar to the leadoff hitter, Steve Suker, is ball one. So we're underway, and as Ray pointed out, I think the key for Heflin would be to keep the score down, Ray.
That's right, keep it low and hope they can get a break in the late innings.
It's a ground ball foul by Suker. By the way, Heflin Builders, go ahead, Ray.
It'd be tough to do against the Farm Tavern. They've got so many good bats in the lineup. It's hard to pitch around anybody. They get decent pitching. They're tough to beat.
Farm Tavern 3-0 in the preliminary round and 1-0 so far in the playoff round, so they're undefeated. Strike. The call is
good off-speed pitch in the inside corner.
Terry, bring your microphone a little closer to your mouth, please.
leadoff hitter Steve Suker. Suker with a little short swing as he pops the ball down the right field line, foul.
Jammed him pretty good on that one.
Heflin finished in first place in their division with a record of 2 wins and 1 loss, and they won their semifinal game in exciting fashion as they defeated the Pride from Grand Prairie, Alberta, on a bottom of the 7th home run by Frankie Perez. So they've won some low-scoring games, and their pitching and defense has been their key this weekend.
That's right. If they keep it close, they got a couple of guys that can hit it out.
That ball fouled over our heads to our behind us there where the overhead camera is there, and our good friend Wayne Adams is probably shaking up there a little bit. Coming up his way. Good.
Joe Jones is taking over for Wayne Adams.
Joe Jones is up there, they tell us, in the overhead camera, our eye in the sky here. And that's the shot you're looking at right now as Algar winds it up. Good battle here by Suker as he fouls it off.
Algar is bringing the heat here pretty good.
Algar is he's a New Zealander, a Kiwi. Plays for the Farm Tavern. Rob Peterson, the sponsor of the Farm Tavern in Madison, Wisconsin. One of the top teams in the United States, the defending tournament champions here.
And he didn't like that new ball. He wants it rubbed up a little bit.
There's Algar, a swing and a miss from Suker, and
good drop ball.
They talk all about the Farm Tavern and that awesome offense, but Algar is a quality pitcher, world-class pitcher.
Well, they've got good pitching, too, with Algar and Jody Henniger, who is also one of the most feared hitters in fastball.
And I guess you could consider the Heflin Builders the surprise of the weekend. They've played well, and they've got themselves all the way to the final.
They've come here with a good, solid team this year. Good defense, a lot of speed, and enough hitting to get them through close games.
Particularly defense, Ray. Their defense has just been awesome here this weekend.
A lot of speed on the bases and as well as defensively.
Algar gets ready to crank it up here. Good pitch on the outside corner, low.
These pitchers have really been painting the corners all weekend here.
Defensively for the Farm Tavern, around pitcher Paul Algar. Jared Martin at first, Tim Hildebrand at second, Boyd Dahlman at short, Brian Marty at third, Chris Delaware, Steve King, and Colin Abbott around the outfield. We'll hear more about Abbott as the game goes on. Brian Nouveau doing the catching. Paul Algar is the pitcher. One down, Darren Davis, the batter.
Missed low there outside with that one.
So it's 3-1 here to Davies. He's not a stereotypical first baseman, not particularly a power hitter, but a speed merchant type. A good defensive first baseman, a guy that likes to slash the ball from the left side and try to beat it out. There's a base hit.
There it is.
Into left field. He goes the opposite way with it. Delaware makes the play, picks it up, fires it in. So an early base runner for Heflin.
Heflin has come up here this year with a team that's built on defense and speed, contact hitters, but they've got Donnie Burnett, an old veteran here who can hit it out of the park.
Here's Burnett, and he bunted in the last game for a sacrifice, Ray, and it might be interesting to see whether or not that bunt will be in order again. Big Frankie Perez on deck, and Perez homered to win the game against Grand Prairie, so don't be surprised if even Donnie Burnett is asked to give himself up here for a base. Not that time.
They're in the heart of the order here where they want to be with somebody on base here. A lot of speed and two good hitters coming up.
Burnett calls time. Davies there down at first base doing some groundskeeping there to get the track at the right consistency for his liking. Burnett has a good rip at that one. He'd like to have that one back. That was a rise ball right in his wheelhouse. Burnett just a little bit tardy through the strike zone, fouled it off.
Just a little bit higher than he likes.
That was the pitch that Perez hit for the home run to win the last game. There was a ball up around chin height, and he just mashed it.
Well, that's what happened in the game that Stittsville lost as well. Rise ball.
Ground ball, base hit, or the second for one, on to first, double play with a slow-footed Burnett at the other end. So a good double play as Dolleman and Hildebrand turn it around the bag at second.
Madison shows they can play defense as well as having all that power at the plate.
So the double play, 4-6-3, Donnie Burnett bats into the twin kill. No runs, one hit, no errors, nobody left, and the pitcher's best friend, the old double play ball.
The importance of keeping the ball down, making them hit it on the ground.
Especially with a guy like Burnett who has a tendency to hit the ball hard and runs not too well. A prime candidate for the double play, and he batted into one. Defensively for
lost second base out here.
The second base bag ripped off its moorings by a tough slide. Defensively for Ballston Lake around the infield, Darren Davies at first base, Billy McDonald at second. Jeremy Spear will be playing shortstop, Robbie Watson at third. Darren Tate, Steve Suker, and Frankie Perez in the outfield. Brian McGuire will be the catcher. His battery mate is Kevin Brown. Kevin Brown, a right-handed pitcher.
He's throwing a lot of balls in the screen here. I think he's trying to rough it up.
Yeah, that's something that pitchers have a tendency to do. If they don't like the slick feeling of the ball while they're warming up, they'll fire a couple of them into the screen and get it roughed up a little bit. Kevin Brown, and he'll face Steve King, Tim Hildebrand, Colin Abbott hitting third. Tim Wall will be the designated player, who's also a catcher from time to time. Brian Marty, Brian Nouveau, Chris Delaware, Jared Martin, and Boyd Dolman will be the lineup that he will face, and there aren't a lot of rests in there for a pitcher.
Not too many easy ones.
Just interesting to note that the designated player is Tim Wall. That means that Henniger isn't even hitting here.
Not yet.
But if the game gets close and they need a bat late in the game, don't be surprised if Henniger brings his ugly stick with him to the plate.
He'll be in there, I'm sure. If he's not pitching, he'll be in there swinging a bat before it's over.
Finishing the warm-up pitches here for Kevin Brown. He's getting a few extra tosses as the crack grounds crew here at Conlon Farm replaces the bag. It's been a rough weekend for bases here on this Diamond 1. The base at the third base was torn off its moorings earlier.
Hard slides.
These big guys wearing the steel cleats and hard on the bases. They've got the strap apparently ripped off on that one. So they've got two pegs, and here's the new base. So they're replacing that one at second base. Apparently one of the straps ripped on it, so it's got two new straps on it. The groundskeeping person making sure that she's got second base in the proper place. How many, you know this right to an inch. How far is that, Ray, from the plate?
84 feet, 10 1/4 inches.
84 feet, 10 1/4 inches.
From the back of the plate to the pin.
I remember lining up the diamond, 84 feet, 10 1/4 inches. And it seems like when you're a catcher, it's 88 miles down there and you're trying to throw somebody out.
The center fielder is Steve King.
Here's Steve King. I don't think he's in relation to the mystery writer.
We'll see if he can write a little bit of a story here.
Kevin Brown, Brian McGuire will do the catching. See more and more of these catchers at the senior level wearing the chest protector, Ray, and that's something that I hope kids are taking note of.
Well, it's a good idea when you've got guys throwing the ball as hard as these guys do, plus the foul tips. Ball's traveling over 100 miles an hour coming off the bat. Can do a lot of damage to the ribs. Starts him off with a nice drop on the outside corner.
Kevin Brown against Steve King, Tim Helderbrand, and Colin Abbott here in the first inning for the Farm Tavern. Tries the same pitch on the outside corner, just misses this time.
A little lower out there.
Any insight on this Kevin Brown, where he's from, Ray? That ball's popped to center field. Steve Suker with it out there. He puts it away for out number 1.
Right on the track out there. That's not a good sign.
The leadoff hitter.
And the leadoff hitter takes you right to the center field fence.
The second baseman, Tim Hildebrand.
I don't know if it's any consolation to the players out there, but it looks like the wind has died down a little bit, not blowing as stiffly out to right field as it was earlier in the day today, and that might be good news for Heflin.
I would think so.
Because
Colin Abbott won't hit it quite as far, maybe.
Not as if some of these guys from Madison don't need the help, but every little bit helps.
This kid can bring it, but he just doesn't want to leave it out there over the plate too often for these kind of hitters he's going to face. Got to keep it down against Madison.
This is Hildebrand. He's the second baseman. As we said, there's not a lot of weak links in this farm ball club. Three and 0 on Hildebrand, and I'll tell you one thing: you don't want to be walking anybody in this lineup.
You've got Colin Abbott coming next.
Yeah, because you're just inviting a passel full of trouble. Three and 0 on Hildebrand. That's in the dirt for ball 4, and base on balls, Colin Abbott.
The right fielder, Colin
You've got
Abbott.
probably the most feared hitter in fastball right now in the world, in Colin Abbott from Newfoundland up here.
Well, here's Abbott.
Even Zach doesn't like pitching to this guy.
It's the first chance we've had to see him in our television broadcast here this weekend, but we've had a chance to see him in some of the other games. And he's put on another display.
He was in Smith Falls with the national team a couple of years ago practicing, and he showed there in the batting practice how he can hit the ball, and he's been on the national team and won a lot of championships.
This guy is the best hitter in the world, they say. Left-handed batter. Hit a home run here last night to left center just to prove to everybody he can hit the ball to every part of the ballpark. Doesn't necessarily have to pull it.
He's not prejudiced. He can hit it out of any part of the park.
That was outside on the outside corner. Good pitch from the
Outside
youngster.
corner, good pitch.
It's got to be an intimidating sight for young Brown out there in his first real big senior tournament to be facing this guy. I guess all you can do is do your best out there. Try to get him with your best pitch. I think the danger being perhaps with the pitcher is to try to go outside of his element and try to throw the ball too hard, Ray, and then get himself in trouble.
That's right. You got to stay within yourself here and don't try to overthrow it because then it flattens out.
A good call there. A call from the umpire. And right away, Abbott turned to the umpire. "Come on, Donnie," he said, in a thick Newfoundland accent. Strike 2 to Abbott.
Didn't like that call.
Sometimes these great hitters have a better knowledge of the strike zone than the umpires do. So,
well, they think they do anyway.
or at least they think they do. Yeah, I guess that's correct. But the guy with the blue shirt is the guy that's making the decisions, and that's the umpire. And Abbott swings and misses on a rise well out of the strike zone, and boy, that's got to be a confidence builder for young Brown.
That's right. He can bring it. Looks like he's going to challenge them. And here's kind of another great hitter here in Tim Wall.
Tim Wall, who is the designated player, he's also a catcher. And this guy is built like a railway. He's huge, big arms, big shoulders. Here goes the runner to second base. Good throw. It's going to be a close play at second base, and he's out. A nice peg down there by Brian McGuire.
Part of the defense for Heflin. They're not weak in any position defensively.
So the final line in the first inning for the Madison Farm Tavern. No runs on no hits, no errors, and no one left. Caught stealing on the base on balls from Hildebrand. So we got one inning complete in the books in the final of the 9th annual Perth Fast Pitch Shootout. No score between the Farm Tavern from Madison, Wisconsin, and the Heflin Builders from Ballston Lake, New York.
Well, it's a good start for Heflin to get through that inning and through some big bats there and keep the score at 0.
And a big confidence booster, too, when you can use your defense to get yourself out of an inning and get a strikeout against Colin Abbott.
Upcoming is the last 50-50 draw of the day. Representatives of Caldwell Banker Real Estate Office are moving out there. The last draw was
Brian McGuire, Rob Watson, and Darren Tate scheduled here in the second inning for the Heflin Builders.
The big brothers and the big sisters.
Frankie Perez will be the leadoff hitter, and he's got the biggest hit of the weekend here so far for the Heflin Builders. He hit a wicked line drive home run to left center field.
And he made a great defensive play yesterday to save the game for Heflin as well.
He was at third base at that time. He played right field in the last game. Yeah, he's a good all-around ball player. Has a baseball background, I'm told. Played some minor pro ball. So he should have the quick bat anyway to make contact here with Paul Algar. So Frank Perez will lead it off here as we head to the top half of the second inning. Algar throws a couple of extra warm-up tosses. We have a good look at the Heflin Builders bench. Heflin Gremlins. They've changed their name, I guess, apparently. They've got one set of uniforms that has Builders and one has Gremlins. I hope that's not in reference to that AMC car they used to make in the 70s. Perez is fooled by the changeup, strike 1.
Well, Algar will be trying to keep it down on this guy.
Yeah, Algar won't make a mistake here, I don't think, with something up top where he can get hurt. That's a rise ball, but it's well out of the strike zone. Farm Tavern from Madison, Wisconsin, in white uniforms with double blue trim. And the Heflin Gremlins from Ballston Lake, New York, red tops, gray pants. It was interesting that last game, Ray, we had two clubs with red tops and gray pants. A little confusing out there.
You can make it tough on the infield.
That's a line shot. Base hit for Frank Perez's. Tim Hildebrand got a piece of it but couldn't haul it in to make the play. So Perez with a base hit. That's the second hit of the game so far for the...
Algar left that one out over the plate a little more than he probably wanted to.
So that makes Brian McGuire the next hitter. And you got to wonder what's going to happen here on the corners. Most likely to be a bunting situation. Brian Marty and Jared Martin are in at the corners here for the Farm. Try to take the bunt away. And it's a good one right up the middle. He's going to get the job done and maybe a little more as he's safe at first.
Good speed.
Good speed there, and a little bit of a cross up there between Paul Algar and his two corner infielders as they seem to.
And I think they might be running here for
Perez. So an early start here for Heflin. Runners on first and second. Nobody out. This is Switzer. Chris Switzer, the pinch runner. He'll come in and run for Frankie Perez.
Now running for Frank Perez, number 88, Chris Switzer.
So Switzer is the designated wheel man here. I would imagine that Perez will re-enter the game after Switzer carries the baton on the relay team here.
Think so.
Rob Watson, the hitter, with nobody out and runners at first and second. And again, it looks like the bunt is going to be in order here. As
pitch was high and outside. He pulled the bat back.
It'll be interesting to see how Madison would react when they're playing from behind. They haven't been behind a lot this weekend.
They've been behind before, though. They were behind in the first game, 3-0 to Grand Prairie. They were behind last year, I believe, in the final, and they came back. This team is never out of it.
Another good bunt, and almost a throwing error there by Brian Marty. Good play by Hildebrand as he dug it out of the dirt. But the sacrifice works.
Good execution here by Heflin. They're a solid fundamentals team. If they're going to win it, that's what they have to do. Play good defense and execute the bunt, make contact.
So here's Darren Tate in a big run-scoring situation. One out. Chris Switzer, the pinch runner, at third. Brian McGuire, the runner, at second base. So Algar's got himself in a little mini jam here as we play in the top of the second inning. A chance for the Heflin Builders to break on top here.
We may see Henniger earlier than expected, but this Madison team is never out of it.
And you're right, Ray. Looks like they're going to warm somebody up down
there. He goes.
The ball's high. Ball one, and Henniger taking his glove and his catcher down the third baseline, and he's going to get heated up here in a hurry just in case Heflin makes a breakthrough here.
If any team can come back from behind, it's Madison. They've done it several times here.
That ball's outside. And Algar looks like he's struggling a little bit for his control, right?
A little problem here finding the strike zone.
That's up and in. 3 balls, no strikes with first base open, 1 out.
Heflin hitters showing a lot of discipline here. They're not chasing that high stuff.
The pitcher, Kevin Brown, is on deck. He's a right-handed batter. Right down the chute.
Got him with a drop ball. Brown must be a good hitter to be in the lineup at this level. Unless the pitcher is a very good hitter, he doesn't normally bat.
Well, we might get a chance to find out here in just a moment. That's up and in, and that'll be ball 4. Going to check that at first. No, he didn't swing. So here are the bases are loaded. No place to put this guy. Kevin Brown, the pitcher.
Now batting for Heflin, the pitcher, Kevin Brown.
I don't think anybody would have told.
He's going to pinch hit for him.
Oh, I guess maybe that was a decoy.
Maybe it was.
So it didn't take him long. They're going to bring Frank Foregraves in to hit. Foregraves pinch hit in the last game.
Pinch hit for Kevin Brown, number 34, Frank Foregraves.
So Foregraves, who's their designated big stick off the bench, is going to be pinch hitting here. And this is when you want your guy to come through. Bases loaded, 1 out here. Foregraves comes in, and he's going to swing the bat with the bases loaded.
He looks like he's been around for a while, probably a lot of experience, and obviously a good hitter.
So here's Foregraves with the bases full. Swings and misses on a rise ball up and away.
That was a ball.
And he asked Don Kennedy whether it was a strike or not, and Kennedy shook his head no. Foregraves in a big position here early. It's down and away. Down and in, rather.
Taken low and inside.
Big hit here, Ray, would give Heflin a tremendous jump, both on the scoreboard, but I think mentally too.
Oh yeah, the confidence here against a team like Madison, you want to be ahead. On the corner at the knees, inside.
1-2 the count on 1-2 the count on Fourgraves. Jeremy Spear, yeah, is on deck. He's the shortstop. Fourgraves gets a piece of it, hits it foul past the bag at third. Big situation here early in this ball game. Top of the second, no score, but the bases loaded for the Ballston Lake Heflin Gremlins, and a chance to break on top against the highly favored Farm Tavern from Madison, Wisconsin.
He'd like to hit something out of that infield.
And just a ball in play somewhere will probably score a run. He disses the ball up the middle, and it's going to be a base hit. Score at least one run. Here comes the second run in to score. 2-0 for the Heflin Builders. And Fourgraves comes through, does the job.
Exactly, good piece of hitting there.
He was in a hole with 2 strikes, managed to get the bat on the ball and hit it up the middle past the pitcher.
Now
Darren Tate with some good base running as he goes all the way to third.
A run for the pinch hitter.
So another base running move here. So they're going to obviously run probably for Fourgraves. Fourgraves, who was hitting for Brown. We had a pinch hitter actually coming up for Jeremy Spear. George Sebelveda, who we saw involved in a triple playing, drove in 2 runs here the other night. So Sebelveda is going to be the pinch hitter.
Run as well.
Yeah, this guy can really fly. Runners on first and third. Still only 1 out here. 2 runs in already for the Heflin Builders as they jump up to a 2-0 lead. There goes Fourgraves down to second as the ball was juggled.
Got him there anyway.
Yeah, got the job done. So first and second now as the catcher, Brian Newell, juggled the ball on that pitch. First, second, and third, 1 gone here. Chance for a big inning here for Heflin. He butts the ball, but he doesn't get it down, and luckily for Heflin, nobody strayed too far from the bases. Paul Algar went down kind of awkwardly there around the third base bag. He dug in his cleats, but he's all great. He's smiling, so he's all right.
He was just trying to get out of the way of the third baseman who was charging for that ball.
And perhaps out of the way of a throw that might cut his head off. Here's Steve Schucker coming up now with 2 out. Still 2 on. Still looking for a big hit to cash in a couple more runs here. That's fouled straight back towards us. Strike
nice
1.
Ball up and in here. Got him on the up the handle.
1.5, Terry, or 2.5?
So move here in the top of the second inning. 1.5 innings complete, and an early jump here for Heflin. Still a couple of ducks on the pond, as they say here. An opportunity for a big inning here for Heflin. He's trying to bunt there. Bunting for a base hit there, obviously, Ray.
Trying to drag it there. It was a good pitch to bunt, but I think he was worried more about running than he was about making contact.
Yeah, that's one of the mistakes that a lot of guys do when they try to drag that ball instead of trying to get that head start down the line at first. Sometimes they don't make good contact. His hands spread apart on the bat that time, Ray, with a little bit of a choke-up action there, just trying to put the ball in play.
Little bat control there, but Algar's been jamming him inside.
Again, a big situation here early in this final of the Perth Shootout. The ball's outside.
And this guy is right on top of the plate in there. He's trying to cover that outside corner. Algar likes to paint that outside corner.
There's no doubt about what his strategy is here. Just trying to put the ball in play, not trying to hit a power hit.
And he did it.
Little jam shot out there towards Abbott. And Abbott makes the catch.
Easy out for Abbott.
But a good inning. A very good inning for the Heflin Builders. They score twice, 2 runs on 3 hits No errors and 2 men left. So after an inning and a half, Ballston Lake Heflin Builders jump on top 2-0 over the Madison, Wisconsin Farm Tavern. So we got Wall, Marty, and Newville coming up. So they're making the changes there now where they're re-entering. So Perez re-enters the game for Switzer. And it appears Spear is going to re-enter the game for Suvella. And Brown re-enters the game for Foregraves.
This is not Perez playing third here.
Perez is in right field.
Oh, they've moved. I see.
I believe, yep. So they've re-entered all the players they started with. That means that they can't do that again, I guess. They can only re-enter once.
You can take a starting player out and re-enter him one time.
The player that is used as a substitution can only be used the once.
Yeah, well, so the substitutes there are finished for the game.
So the management of Heflin, thinking that was an important inning, they used 3 players off their bench in that inning to score those 2 runs, and that's a big move for them.
Well, in this kind of a game against this kind of pitching, you sometimes only get that one opportunity. You have to take advantage of it early.
So Wall will lead it off. He was at the plate when Hildebrand was thrown out in the first
inning. He's a
inning.
dangerous hitter here. He'd like to get Madison right back in it.
Kevin Brown starts him off with a drop on the outside corner for strike 1. A daunting sight at the plate, to say the least. Tim Wall. A pitch a little bit outside. I believe Wall was here the first time, I think, with that American healthcare team that was here years and years ago.
May have been Sioux City.
Sioux City, National Healthcare. That ball's hit well into the right center field
hard,
gap.
but it was down low.
And a good running catch out there by Darren Tate. Just as Ray pointed out, down below the knees, hard to get that one up and out of here.
That's right. If you get pitch up above the knees to Wall and he hits that one, it's out of here.
Ball is also a little bit on the outside half of the plate, so a little bit tougher to pull. This is Brian Marty, the third baseman. Left-handed hitter. And good day to you. Welcome to the Ottawa Valley. A little knockdown pitch there as Brian Marty gets set on his duff.
Purpose pitch there, get his attention.
Marty got a big smile on his face as he talks to the catcher. Yeah, like the catcher standing there said, "Do you think I told him to do that?" Everybody's getting a little bit of a laugh out of it. I'll tell you, it isn't too funny when you're on the receiving end up there.
Well, when that ball is traveling at the speed these guys are throwing it.
1 out, bottom of the second. 2-0 for Ballston Lake. Swing, ground ball, that's just foul. First base. Darren Davies right on it, however, but it's a foul ball. Robbie Watson at third base. Jeremy Spear at short. Billy McDonald at second, and Darren Davies, the first baseman, around the infield for Kevin Brown. That ball's well hit to right center field. That ball's deep, and out of here. Well, that always happens.
Madison is never out of a game.
Madison right back in it, and I'll tell you, that shows a little bit about what Brian Marty's made of. After getting knocked down with a pitch right at his head, he jumps up out of the dirt and hits the next one out of the yard. So a big swing.
The lesson there may be don't knock him down.
Don't wake up the sleeping giant. Brian Marty with a solo shot. Cuts the margin in half. As Ray indicated, you can't count this club out, this Farm Tavern. They have an awesome offensive club. It's Brian Neville, who's the catcher. Good swing on that one, but he's got that one up in the air a little bit. Boy, these guys are making loud outs here, too.
That's right. That ball was up in a dangerous location in the strike zone as well.
2 out as a fly out to left field, but I'll tell you, he just missed that one.
Brown is fortunate. If he leaves it up there too often like that, there's going to be a lot of balls out of here.
Yeah, and it's almost like the guy checking the gas tanks with the lit match. You just sooner or later one's going to explode on you, and that's what happened on that pitch to Marty, and Nuvo just missed on that one. Here's Delaware, the left fielder, number 27, Chris Delaware. 2 gone, 1 run in here in the bottom of the 2nd inning for the Farm Tavern. Comes up and in with the first one for ball 1. Got to work that drop, of course, to these guys because they're up there. They come off the bench swinging, this Farm Tavern team. Nobody out there looking for a walk on this club.
Not too many of them. They come to the ballpark ready to hit.
Brown looks in, gets the sign from McGuire, cranks it up. That's a ground ball to third. Good defensive play by Robbie Watson as he traps it and makes a throw across the diamond to Davies for the 3rd out, but
they even hit the low stuff hard.
The ice has been broken for the Farm Tavern. They score 1 run on 1 hit, a big home run by Brian Marty. So we've got 2 innings in the books. The score, the Heflin Builders 2, the Farm Tavern 1. As we move on now to the top of the 3rd inning. Top of the 3rd inning, and we'll go right back to the top of the order here for Heflin and Steve Suker, who struck out to lead off the game. And just a reminder to our fast pitch fans that this is being brought to you through the corporate sponsorship of our good friends at Hershey Canada and Loeb Grocery here in Perth. And thanks to the nice folks at Loeb and at Hershey for their moral and financial support, which has made this broadcast possible.
Thanks again to Bob and Richard. Donnie, all right for balls?
Suker, Davies, and Burnett here in the top of the 3rd inning.
Hey, chicken, press that bat here. Let's go.
And Heflin would like to answer back here with a run or 2 and
Donnie, all right for
keep
balls?
that lead.
No, just don't want.
Actually, Davies is the leadoff hitter. Darren Davies, the second baseman. Suker made the last out of the 2nd inning.
The first baseman, Darren Davies.
So Davies, Burnett, and Perez, the lineup for the Ballston Lake Heflin Builders Gremlins. A mouthful. First one is just a little bit high from Paul Algar as he tries to slip the rise by.
Dog fight, let's go, dog fight, boys.
Next one outside for ball 2. I guess you could say Algar is a deliberate worker, Ray. He doesn't work too quickly out there. He gets the ball and takes his time. The ground ball, third base. Nice play by Marty. He scoops it up and fires it across to Jarrett Martin. That ball appeared to be by Brian Marty, but he got the glove down there and flagged it. Made a nice throw over to Jarrett Martin for out number 1.
Yeah, the pitch was inside. He jammed him with that one. Again, he didn't have much room there. He just fought it off.
There's Donnie Burnett. He's 0 for 1. He hit into a double play in his last at bat, a 4.63 number. So with 1 gone, Burnett bats with the bases empty. And Donnie's had kind of a rough weekend here. He hasn't really hit the ball that well. Swings and misses on a changeup that's down and out of the strike zone.
I'm not sure how much ball he's playing now. Whether he used to play with Owen Sound the last few years since he moved to the Toronto area.
With the Heflin Builders here this weekend and struggling just a little bit. These good veteran hitters, though, you never know when they're going to pull a trick out of their hat.
That's right.
Come on, Donnie.
1 out for Donnie Burnett. Top half of the 3rd inning, 2-1 for Ballston Lake.
Just missed outside with that one.
Algar did not like that call. He turned and walked around the pitching circle with his back to the umpire.
Come on, Donnie. Come on, Donnie.
Burnett's got a count that he might be able to do something with. Algar winds it up and in Little payback there, maybe, Ray?
Well, dusting him off, getting him back from that plate anyway.
Well, that'll keep you from leaning out over to the dish, trying to hit that ball the opposite field as you come up and in on a guy.
With authority, Donnie! Hey guys, come on now. Come on, go!
Ronnie Burnett with a ground ball up the middle. Nice defensive play by Hildebrand and throws him out. Hildebrand going behind the pitcher's slab to make a nice backhanded play.
Good play here. Donnie is not as quick as he used to be.
The right fielder, Frank Perez.
Frankie Perez, who singled and scored in the second inning and hit a long home run to win the ball game against Grand Prairie earlier this afternoon. He's 1 for 1. First one on the outside half from
Outside corner here. Perez didn't like it.
Algar seems to have righted himself after a difficult second inning. Getting some ground balls here. Goes with the low one again.
Right at the knees.
I think Frankie likes the high stuff. He's taken 2 of those drops down low. He likes to pitch maybe above belt high. Up on the bat handle about half a hand's width. Just protecting the plate. Fouls that off. Perez, who has played some third base here this weekend, is playing right field in this ball game. Looked pretty good defensively at third. He made a couple nice plays when he was over there in that game against Stittsville.
Very strong yesterday.
Got himself in a 0-2 hole here as Algar can make a good pitcher's pitch on him. Algar hiding the ball on his hip, as is the New Zealand tradition. He's up with the rise, and Perez held off.
Chase a high one there, but Perez is a pretty experienced hitter.
Boy, he just looks like he means business up there. Get that look on his face. He didn't get that one by him. He was right on that one, although he fouled it off. Well, Perez has proven that if you make a mistake against him, he can make you pay dearly. So
I think Algar knows that. He's been pretty careful with him.
Might have him set up for a change here right now, right? If I'm catching, I'm thinking maybe I'll drop the slow one on him.
He hasn't thrown a lot of changes here, and he might need to do that.
Gets him with that one.
Took a little off of that one in the drop.
Gets the job done. So the Heflin Builders go quickly here in the top of the third. No runs, no hits, no errors, and no one left. We've got 2.5 complete. The score, the Ballston Lake Heflin Builders 2 and the Farm Tavern from Madison, Wisconsin 1. We're getting close to the bottom of the order here for the Farm. Jared Martin and Boyd Dolleman. And back up to the top of the order for Steve King here in the bottom half of the third inning. This game moving right along. The Farm won the championship here last year. Ray, who did they beat in the final on that one? Was it the Tampa Bay club? Well, I guess it wasn't. Tampa Bay wasn't here last year.
No, the Tampa Bay was knocked out earlier. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember who it was, but they were behind, and they came from behind again because of all the bats they have. Jody Henniger hit a tremendous home run, as well as did a lot of the pitching. So they're very capable of coming from behind.
You've heard us talk about world championships, and sometimes fast pitch has a tendency to have maybe tied up in titles a little bit, but we talked about the New Zealand team winning the world championship. They won the world championship of countries. That's where the countries send their best teams.
The national teams.
National teams to tournaments, and they've won. And the International Softball Congress, the ISC, has a world championship they play annually. And that's for club teams here in North America, and that's the one that this Farm Club has had a lot of success at.
Right, I believe they won it last year.
So here's Jared Martin, the first baseman and the leading off here in the third inning. He takes the first pitch for strike one, and I'd like to thank Ron Harrison and his group here for doing a tremendous job and making us feel at home here.
Great job as usual.
Making us feel at home here in Perth, keeping us stocked with fresh water and something to eat. Base hit there for Martin as he rams it past the third baseman and into left field. So the leadoff man here for the Farm, and
hit that ball hard. Pitcher has gotten a couple of balls up here on him, and you just can't do that against these guys.
Now that guy's the 8-hitter in the lineup, and he hit a bullet off you. So
they have a lot of power right through the lineup, and you're not safe making mistakes with any of these guys.
So after that leadoff single, there's Boyd Dolleman, the 9-hitter in the lineup. He's the shortstop. Good look at Kevin Brown there as he thinks it over. The corners are in here. Davies and Watson looking for the bunt. Down by 1 run. It's a pretty good chance here that they will be bunting. There it is. He gets it up in the air, and he gets it to where nobody is.
Experience here again. He caught them. Everybody coming in, popped it over their head.
So that's a bunt single for Dolleman. And the third baseman charging hard, and Dolleman managed to get the ball over his head, and once it was there, it was in no man's land.
Looks good when it works. If he pops that up when it's caught, it doesn't look so good.
So Brown's got himself in a heap of trouble. Back to the top of the order. Here's Steve King. King flied out to center field, deep center field in his first at-bat.
He took him right to the fence here, and
so with Hildebrand and Abbott waiting on deck, it'll be interesting to see whether Steve King is sacrificing here. He never could take the sacrifice for granted with his farm clubs. They have so many big bats that they might just swing away.
I think the shortstop will be staying at home on this one. He may have cheated a little bit last time towards second, and
might have cost them. First one is outside to King. So the 8 and 9 men start the rally here for the Farm, so that shows you their depth.
An indication of the depth they have in this club.
Good cut on that one as it appeared King was trying to go to left field with it. Young Kevin Brown, a youngster here in his first real big senior tournament experience, and I'll tell you one thing, he's getting the baptism under fire here as he faces the best hitting team in the world, probably. Chopped into the ground there by King.
Drop ball, and that's the best pitch to throw these guys.
Well, King is a leadoff hitter, so he isn't a really good double play candidate, but perhaps they get a hard hit ball hit right at an infielder, they might be able to turn to 2.
He looks like he has some speed out there on the bases as well as some power.
He's their center fielder, obviously, so he's got some pretty good wheels. He's just trying to chop the ball, put it in play here. And he does it, a ground ball to second. That's 1 at second. No throw at first base, so they get the force out at second base. And the speed of King and a good aggressive slide by the base runner, Dolleman, breaks up the double play. So first and third now with 1 out. For Tim Hildebrand. 1 gone, first and third in a 2-1 ball game.
Colin Abbott on deck, so he'd like to
make sure he gets up
this one.
Yeah, that's for sure. It would be nice if we could get a double play ball here.
He'd like a double play ball.
Keep Abbott on the bench. So Hildebrand with 1 out, runners on first and third. He swings and misses at a ball in the dirt.
Good drop ball there, chased a bad one.
Hildebrand walked in his first plate appearance in the first inning, then was caught stealing at the end of that inning. And he was thrown out by Brian McGuire, who made an excellent throw from behind the plate. That's one thing that has never really been too much in question is the defensive ability of this Heflin club, although he did make a little bit of a mix-up on that bunt play.
Right, that's about the first one this weekend. They've been very strong defensively.
He bluffs a bunt, and the runner from third coming down on the safety squeeze. That's Jared Martin, but Martin not too far off the bag, not too adventurous.
Jared Martin, I think he might be a New Zealander.
What a good pitch that was. We saw King's knees buckle on that one. He was fooled by that one.
Inside corner. The drop here, the spin on that one may have tailed it back a little bit like a screwball.
Yeah, his knees definitely buckled on that. He was fooled, thinking the pitch was inside and off the plate. Ground ball up the middle. He looks the guy back at third, makes the play at first base just in time. What a nice play there by the first baseman, Darren Davies, to save that one.
Almost threw that one away.
Kevin Brown made a nice play looking the guy back at third base. But now he's got himself Colin Abbott to deal with.
Runners on second and third here. First base is open, so I would think he'll be pretty careful with Abbott.
Well, I don't know. If you just flat out walk him here, do you? Or that's what I'd be thinking about doing. You're going to make Tim Wall beat you?
You've got pretty good hitters coming after him, too, so it's a tough call.
Well, Abbott was a strikeout victim in the first inning, but
that's right.
If I'm Kevin Brown, I'm not going to try to live on my laurels there. Because the guy's usually about a 500 hitter. That means that you got him the first time, he's going to get you this time. So
it's a very good chance.
Runners on second and third, 2 out. Colin Abbott at the plate. Tim Wall waiting in the on-deck circle. Interesting to see what the strategy is here. He definitely won't get anything too good to hit, I wouldn't think. That one's in the dirt for ball one.
Drop ball in the dirt here. Not taking any chances with Abbott.
Well, if Abbott is going to make an out here, I think it's going to be on a pitch out of the strike zone. I would venture a guess at least, knowing the experience of Brian McGuire, the catcher. And there's a ball on the ground, and Jared Martin is going to try to score from third. He doesn't get it done. A nice defensive play by the catcher, Kevin Brown, covering. And Jared Martin is DOA at the plate. And against the defense of the Heflin Builders comes through again as they get out of a big jam there and leave Colin Abbott standing at the plate.
Questionable play there with Abbott at the plate. I don't think Abbott appreciated that. Just took the bat out of his hands there with 2 men in scoring position, and he's such a great hitter.
So anyway, questionable base running play, and the Farm Tavern pays the price. No runs, 1 hit, 2 hits rather, no errors, and 1 man left on base. So as we move to the top half of the fourth, it's still 2-1 for the Ballston Lake Heflin Builders over the Farm Tavern from Madison, Wisconsin. And Ray, it's just almost like it's a matter of time before this white team breaks loose here.
Well, they're tough to keep off the scoreboard, and they've got 1, but they usually score half a dozen at least.
Heflin living dangerously, but getting the job done here. A couple of good defensive plays, and that was a great defensive play by the pitcher. Not only did he make the tag, but he blocked the batter off. He never did touch the plate.
That's right.
101.1. A very special thanks to Wayne Kirkwood, who promised got everything done and ready for us here on the diamond.
Brian McGuire, Rob Watson, and Darren Tate to bat here as we move to the top half of the fourth inning. A 2-1 ball game for Ballston Lake. McGuire, the first baseman, who made a good defensive play on an errant throw there in the last inning. That's the kind of ones that sometimes don't get noticed too much, but he saved the ball that could have very well went down the right field line. That ball's well hit to right field with that wind blowing out there. It's got a chance, and it's out of here.
This guy can do it all: speed, defense, and power.
That's a big swing for the Ballston Lake Heflin Builders as he drills it out of the park to right field. A solo home run ups the margin to 3-1, and boy, this no quitting this Heflin team.
That's right, they're solid. And they're showing some surprising power here to go with their defense and speed.
Well, Algar really hasn't been that sharp here, Ray. He's allowed some hits, he's had some good innings, but there's been a lot of pitches that he's thrown that have been very hittable.
That's right.
Heflin's taken advantage. So a home run there by Brian McGuire, the first baseman. As soon as they get up in that breeze to right, you knew that it had a chance. Oh! Hit batsman there. And then somebody looks at the bench.
Got him on the leg here.
And after the home run, sometimes that one makes you wonder, guys. There's some a little meeting of the minds going on here. After the home run, sometimes that happens. Rob Watson nailed with the pitch. Watson back up on his pins on his way to first base. Yeah, you got to wonder whether Alcar was actually throwing at him in that situation. Still a close ball game. You don't want to be putting anybody on.
Yeah, I wouldn't say for sure that he was. It's hard to tell.
Let's go here. Take advantage, boys. Come on.
Still a base runner with nobody out. So here's Darren Tate.
That could come back to haunt him.
Hey, come on, check it out. Come on, Tate. Don't let that run go in vain. Come on. Let's go. Come on, check it out.
So Tate is going to bat with a runner at first base and nobody out.
I'm on the outside corner here.
Algar continuing to struggle a little bit with his control.
Henniger is out there warming up again. If he continues to struggle, I think Henniger will be in there soon.
That's up and in, and whoo. Little chin music there for Tate as he squared to bunt. Algar is struggling a little bit for his control, and sometimes it's worse when you're wild right into the middle of the strike zone.
Right.
1-2 to Tate. Just joining us, 2-run outburst in the second inning for Heflin. Perez and McGuire scoring on a single by Frank Foregraves. The Farm Tavern got one of those 2 runs back in the bottom of the second inning on a home run by Brian Marty. But a home run here in the top of the 4th by Brian McGuire has restored the 2-run lead.
Just missed.
He's had a lot of trouble with the control, and it looks like he's got himself in a 3-0 jam here again. And it won't be long before we see the lefty, perhaps. That's up and out of the strike zone, and boy, he's pitching himself into some more trouble here. First and second now with.
And here we
go with the manager
coming out to have a little talk here. He can't wait too much longer.
No, even with a good offensive team like this Farm Club is, you can't afford it. Don't want to get too far behind.
And it's Henniger coming in.
So that's going to be all for Paul Algar. He gives up 3 runs, and he's responsible for those 2 base runners that are on. Here comes Big Henniger, the lefty. So Henniger comes in.
Now pitching for the Farm Tavern, number 13, Jody Henniger.
It'll be Henniger's job to stop the bleeding here, and he got himself in a tough situation. He's going to come in here with 2 men on.
Now they'll have to make a switch here because they'll want to get Henniger's bat in the lineup.
Can Henniger come in the DP spot for Wall, or can he bat anywhere in the lineup, right?
He can. He can come in here. He's coming in for.
Algar, who was in the 10 spot. Maybe they'll pull a double switch.
They're going to have to do something like that.
Because they definitely want Henniger's bat in there if they got him in there pitching.
And they don't want to take Wall out of there either.
So he comes into the game for Algar. In the 11 hole in the order. That's the way it was announced, at least. So somewhere down the line, I think there'll probably be a switch made so they can get Henniger's bat in there, or at least they don't lose his bat. Here's Kevin Brown, the pitcher, with runners on first and second and nobody out. Brown was pinch hit for his first trip, but Frank Foregraves came up, and it was a good move. Foregraves drove in 2 runs. So Brown here is probably going to be asked to bunt, I would suspect. Jeremy Spear will be on deck, and they can't hit for Spear this time without losing him. They batted for him last time as well, so same situation with Brown. They can't lose him. Brown hacking away up there. The first one from Henniger. What do you know about Jody Henniger, Ray? Aside from the fact he's a great hitter.
Henniger, he's a more than adequate pitcher as well. Big lefty here, and he did a lot of the pitching last year here for Farm Tavern as they won the tournament, and he did a lot of damage with his bat as well.
So here's Henniger as he cranks it up. Brown Strike 2 called as he squared to bunt.
It's surprising that they didn't have Henniger DPing for Algar.
Yeah, that would make
makes it easier then to bring him in.
Yeah,
have
sure.
his bat in the lineup, and he can still warm up on the sidelines.
Sure, and they could have used Wall in a different defensive position, I'm sure. Brown hits the ball well to center field. That ball's deep back to the track, but a good running catch by Steve King. Both runners are tagging up, and both will advance. Heads up base running right there.
Right.
By Watson and Tate as they both move up 60 feet on a ball that was pretty well smacked by Kevin Brown.
That's right. He's obviously can hit the ball. When you have a pitcher in the lineup, he has to be able to hit.
So Brown flies out to deep center field. That'll go down as a sacrifice fly. So here's Jeremy Spear. Spear, his first paint appearance of the ballgame. He was pinch hit for in the second inning rather. So in the bottom of the fourth, he's going to bat with runners on second and third and only one gone. Look for the bunt as a possibility here. As he slaps at it as the ball gets by him. So Farm Tavern here trying to shut down Heflin here without any further damage. They're already down 3-1. I think they want to try to keep that margin that close if they can.
Right. Another 2 runs here would make it tough, even with all the bats they have.
And again, the slap play is in order. That one took a bite out of Brian Newbold, the catcher. That one hurt. That's why the catchers wear all that extra equipment.
That's right. It's sometimes referred to as the tools of ignorance. It's a tough spot to play. It's like goalkeeping in hockey. You take a beating.
0-2 now on Spear. He grounds the ball to first. There's going to be a play at the plate. Here it is. He's out at the plate.
Got him with the tag.
Got him with the
He
tag.
tried to slide around him. And,
nice try by Watson as he tried to slide outside.
He almost beat him. Looked like the throw was going to be late, but the catcher made a good tag.
So Spears on now with a fielder's choice at first base. As Watson is pegged out at the plate, Tate moves up 60 feet.
Now we may have an injury here. Jared Martin came in from first base there. He's been favoring his leg since the slide at home plate where he was called out at home.
So Martin and on that play.
He came off the field here. He might be injured.
So into the game.
Substitution here at first.
Number 29 for the Farm Tavern. The new first baseman. And that's Paul Walford, I'm told.
29 is Paul Walford.
Paul Walford into the lineup. He's in there for
Jared Martin.
Jared Martin. So Paul Walford is the new first baseman as Jared Martin pulls up lame. 2 out now, runner on first and third for the leadoff hitter, the center fielder Suker, and he tries to bunt his way over, and that was a suicide squeeze.
Right away, they're going after the new first baseman here.
Darren Tate was
he was on his way
40 feet down the line at third base when that ball was contacted, and he would have scored if he could have put it in play. A suicide squeeze on there. Runners on first and third, 2 gone. Suker with a swinging strike 2.
Good drop ball there by Henniger.
Suker 0 for 1 so far in the ballgame. He struck out in his first plate appearance against Algar back in the first inning. Jody Henniger, the big lefty, wraps it up. Swing and a miss for strike 3. So Henniger does his job. Comes in and puts the fire out. Right. Made some good defense behind him. But 1 run on 2 hits and no errors and 2 men left. So at the end of 3.5 innings, it's 3-1 for the Heflin Builders over the Farm Tavern from Madison, Wisconsin.
Good game here. Madison has lots of power, so they're quite capable of coming back here, but Heflin is certainly making a ball game out of that. They're not going to be an easy foe here today. They've come to play ball. Great looking team this year.
So as we move on to the bottom half of the 4th inning, Colin Abbott, Tim Wall, and Brian Marty will be the batters. Just a reminder to our guys in the truck, we'll take a break after this half inning. After the bottom of the 4th, we'll take a bit of a break. Abbott, Wall, and Marty were the batters. 3-1 for Ballston Lake, the score over the Farm Tavern. This is a big inning, I think, for the Builders, particularly for Kevin Brown, as he faces the 3, 4, and 5 hitters in this powerful lineup. So it'll be a big inning, important inning for them as they try to stay in the game. 3-1 for Heflin, Abbott, Wall, and Marty. And you got a guy like Abbott. He's the only guy I know that's in scoring position when he's in the batter's box.
That's right.
This guy can take you deep.
Probably the most feared hitter in all of fastball today.
He was at the plate when the third out of the last inning was made right at his feet.
Martin attempted to steal home on a fastball, but they got him.
Abbott struck out in his first plate appearance. Grounds that one foul. And you look down the lineup here, and the kind of job that Kevin Brown has done here through 3 innings, he's only allowed 2 hits. Ray, the home run and a single to Jared Martin. So he's done a pretty decent job against a good hitting team.
That's not bad against Madison.
Brown cranks it up against Abbott. Here it is. That's up and away, and Abbott fooled by that rise. One ball and 2 strikes to the legendary Colin Abbott from Newfoundland. Here's the pitch. Abbott dings that one. That ball's
like
deep into left center field and out of here.
He got him up too high on him.
Up and away, and he didn't try to pull it, Ray. He just got it up in the air and so strong. That's what they pay him the big bucks for, to do just exactly that. And Abbott homers to get his team right back in this ball game.
Yeah, you throw it up there too often on him, it's going to be gone.
Well, we said that at the start of this inning, that this was an important inning for this ball club. If they could shut them out this inning after scoring the run in the last inning, it would be an important thing. But it looks like the Farm has turned the tables a little bit with Abbott. And you're right out of the frying pan and onto the stove here with Wall, who can do the same thing.
They're an awesome lineup here offensively. It's never over with them until the last man is out.
So here's Wall with nobody out, nobody on. 1 run already in. Ground ball to short. Nice play there by Spear as he fires it over to Darren Davies at first. 1 gone. Brian Marty on deck.
And he deposited one over the right field fence earlier.
That Marty 1 for 1. He homered in the second inning with nobody on. Although that Brown has allowed a couple of loud ones, both of them have come with the bases empty, which has been an advantage.
That's right.
Marty swings at the first one. It's a down and away pitch, and he looked like he was trying to perhaps take that one to right, or to left field rather. This, whether they win this game or lose this game, this Farm Tavern team is just amazing to watch them hit, because they make even loud outs. They take such good swings at the plate. The ball's up. Third baseman Robbie Watson's got a play, and he makes it in foul territory.
Like those kind of outs against Madison.
So a foul out to the third baseman. And with 2 out, Brian Nouveau, the catcher, will be the batter. This guy must be a pretty good receiver to take Tim Wall out of the job.
That's right.
Wall, a very good catcher as well. First one is a rise ball up and out of the strike zone. Brian McGuire's done a good job catching here in the games that we've saw.
Yes, he has.
Ray, he's not a real flashy guy, but he seems like he calls a good game.
Gets the job done. Strong defensively.
The ground ball to short, and Spear picks that one from his knees. The throw to first in time, another pretty play.
Good defensive play again. Heflin's defense has been their strong point.
So 1 run on 1 big hit, a home run by Colin Abbott. Nobody left on base. So we've got 4 complete innings in the book, and the Ballston Lake Heflin Builders lead the Farm from Madison, Wisconsin by a score of 3-2.
After 4 complete innings, It's the Ballston Lake Heflin Builders 3, the Farm Tavern 2.
We'll take a brief break and we'll be back with the sixth inning with you, or the fifth inning rather. So stay with us. This is the Perth Fast Pitch Shootout.
This game is sponsored in part by Hershey Canada, the makers of O. Henry. Check out this family trio: O. Henry Original, O. Henry Peanut Butter, and O. Henry Chocolate Fudge. Hershey Canada, makers of the complete line of O. Henry chocolate bars and other fine products, proud sponsors of Cogeco Cable 10's coverage of the 1998 Perth Fast Pitch Shootout.
And we're back here at the Perth Fast Pitch Shootout as we move to the top half of the fifth inning. Darren Davies, the leadoff hitter, in a 3-2 ball game in favor of the Heflin Builders from Ballston Lake, New York. And Ray, they're hanging in there, this Heflin team.
They're battlers.
They've got a 3-2 lead, and they've knocked out the starting pitcher, Paul Algar, and they've gotten into the Farm Tavern's bullpen, and Jody Henniger is on to do the pitching now. Henniger put the fire out, come on in the last inning, and got the batters out. Davies fouls it down into the dirt. Davies, Burnett, and Frank Perez are the scheduled hitters here in the top half of the fifth. There's Henniger.
Henniger beat Tampa Bay earlier today.
Yeah, nice changeup as he dropped it in there. Yeah, that's how the Farm Tavern got here. They beat the Tampa Bay Smokers and Darren Zach by a score of 4-1. Knocked Zach out of the game, I believe.
That's right.
So the Smokers were losers in the semifinal. That ball's grounded to first base for Paul Wolford, who's into the game. He makes a nice play for out number one. Donnie Burnett, the batter. Donnie Burnett has hit 2 ground balls and made 3 outs so far here today. Grounded into a 4-6-3 double play and then grounded out 4-3 on a good defensive play by the second baseman in his last at bat.
Come on, go.
So Burnett steps in there against the left-handed deliveries of Henniger. Swings and misses on ball in the dirt.
Henniger throwing a lot of drops here, keeping the ball down, making him hit it on the ground.
And that was Algar's problem, Ray. He didn't keep the ball down. Burnett hits that ball to straightaway center field, and that'll be a base hit in front of Steve King. So Don Burnett gets the job done with a base hit, one gone here, and they would be surprised if they put in a set of wheels here for him.
At 24 is Lyle Brown.
So we're having a discussion here about who's coming into the game. Don Burnett at first base. I would be doubtful if he stays there, though they'll probably run for Burnett.
24 should read Lyle Brown as opposed to Mike Mustache.
Okay.
He's his son.
Okay.
Made a mistake on that.
Yeah, a change there. They made a mistake. 24 is Lyle Brown. And Lyle Brown is coming into the game right now to run for Don Burnett. So Lyle Brown is the runner.
Running for Donnie Burnett. Number 24, Lyle Brown.
This is where it's an advantage, Ray, to have a long bench sometimes.
Exactly. Some of these guys that are the big hitters are not fast on the bases, but you have some rabbits who can run, go in there, and could mean the difference in winning and losing a ball game here.
Well, here's Frankie Perez batting. Perez singled, and eventually scored a run in his first trip to the plate in the second inning. He was a strikeout victim in the third. Perez hits the ball up the middle. Henniger with a double play on the line shot. Good play by Henniger defensively there as he snared that wicked drive up the middle. Henniger, a good all-around athlete, and proved it right there.
He's been around a long time as well. He's seen it all.
So lining out into the double play is Frankie Perez, and that's the end of the inning. Nothing to show for that. No runs on one hit, nobody left in the top of the fifth inning for the Heflin Builders. So we're halfway through the fifth, middle of the fifth inning as we head to the bottom of the fifth. It's 3-2 for Ballston Lake over the Farm Tavern from Madison, Wisconsin. And well, we have a few minutes here, Ray, between innings, an opportunity to talk about something that's coming up in Smiths Falls on the 26th of August.
Right, we have the California Cuties coming to town here, and a little fundraiser for minor ball, and we're going to have Smiths Falls Junior Redmen alumni squad come out and play them, featuring players from the Redmen since 1976. We're hoping to get a lot of our great players back and have a little fun, a little bit of a reunion at the same time.
And that's coming up on the 26th of August, and an opportunity to see not only the Cuties who put on a good show, some comedy and some good fast pitch at the same time, but opportunity to see some of the Redmen greats that played for Ray over the course of the last 2 decades and a little bit more. So we're all looking forward to that. That's the 26th of August at the Community Center in Smiths Falls. The California Cuties against the Smiths Falls Redmen alumni. All proceeds going to minor ball in Smiths Falls. Bottom of the fifth inning, Chris Delaware to lead it off for the Farm Tavern against Kevin Brown. Brown throws the first one in there for a strike. Brown's had a pretty decent game here. He's only made the 2 major mistakes, and they ended up both on the other side of the fence. So allowed only 3 hits, 2 of them, however, home runs. And to his credit, Abbott and Marty both went deep with nobody on. So
that's right. At least they were fortunate when Martin tried to steal home there. That took the bat out of Abbott's hands, and I was just thinking at the time it would be interesting if he were to come up and hit a home run on his next at bat.
He did just that.
If he had done that with the men on second and third, of course the pitcher might have pitched him a little different. He might not have seen that high pitch, but
yeah, it would have been a 3-run homer. That's low in the dirt. So Brown perhaps learning a little bit of a lesson. He's working Delaware pretty much below the waist. Bottom of the fifth inning, 3-2 for the Heflin Builders over the Farm Tavern from Madison, Wisconsin. Good pitch in the dirt there, and Delaware wasn't able to lay off it.
That's where he's had his success, is keeping it down, getting those ground balls. They've had some hard balls hit at the shortstop, but he's handled those.
Must be quite a feather in Kevin Brown's hat if he could beat this ball club. Oh, that was a close pitch. Brown wanted that one. So base on balls for Chris Delaware to lead off the bottom of the fifth. And this is Todd Wolford, who is into the game. Wolford came in defensively for Jared Martin when Martin injured himself on that force play. So Paul Wolford into the game, and this is his first at bat. He replaces Martin, who singled in the third inning. So this is Wolford's first opportunity to get a look at Kevin Brown. And with the depth this club has, he's probably a pretty good hitter too. He's going to be asked to bunt there, however. No, he didn't go, first base umpire says on the appeal. Somebody from the Heflin bench was yelling lead off.